I wish I knew what that meant, but I don't.
You know, the C batteries that we put in like their Christmas lights or whatever.
Oh, like Dino?
That's basically
Dino's
like,
batteries?
there's just a bunch of those in here.
No way.
Yeah.
So Dino's batteries are in lithium?
Yeah, this battery could power up Dino for like years.
Oh.
I mean, it actually won't.
No, it
Dino's
will.
not compatible.
So this means more inflatables?
No.
Last time aboard Freedom, we confirmed that our boat's batteries are toast and that our switch to lithium might be needed sooner rather than later. But as the wise folks say, keep calm and cruise on. So we continued our travels here in the San Juan Islands, exploring the south end of Lopez Island, a great spot to anchor with shore access, a nearby market for basic provisions, and plenty more to get you in the mood for island life. Or in the mood for a tomahawk steak night that was quite a spectacle. If you missed it, be sure to check it out. Since our battery situation was going downhill fast, we decided to spend our last night in the islands at Skyline Marina, a scenic destination near Anacortes here on Fidalgo Island, before making our way back to Seattle for some big boat work ahead.
Well, we're headed back and we should have some new boat parts waiting for us upon arrival. We pulled the trigger on some new batteries, lithium batteries. So I'm sure the place that accepts our mail probably wants us to collect those today, so they're not taking up so much space. So once we get back, we'll load the batteries into some dock carts, bring them to the boat, and possibly start a portion of the install today.
How big of a deal is this going to be?
Swap of the batteries won't be a big deal. I think we can accomplish that within a couple hours, and then reconfigure our charge settings on our inverter. So that part's good. But before we run the boat the next time, there are some other things that we need to take care of, such as our alternator protection, which is a few different devices that needs to be installed. So we'll do that over the weekend or next weekend, sometime before we use the boat next. But we can at least use the boat at shore power and get the battery swapped out. So we'll do step one this weekend.
Excited?
Yeah, I think it'll be a nice upgrade to be at anchor and have twice the usable battery capacity, and to be able to charge it much more quickly and run the generator less. So we'll see how it goes. The first step in swapping out boat batteries is always the hardest, digging out and discarding the old to make room for the new. Today I'm removing 4 of our old Lifeline AGM batteries, each weighing in at 168 pounds and all inconveniently located deep inside the boat.
How'd that one feel?
Well, they're going to progressively get harder as they get weaker.
Are you engaging your core?
No.
Seriously, you got to though. You're gonna screw up your back.
I don't have much of a core.
Where's the beach?
Where's the batteries? One by one, inch by inch, I removed both batteries from the forward stateroom. Before moving on, I decided to get back into boat yoga to give this compartment a good scrub down before placing the new batteries into their positions. Mail place opens at 10. We'll get our batteries then, so I'm not going to take the other 2 out until we get the new ones, otherwise we won't have any power. That's what's powering all of our 12-volt stuff, our lights and our water pump.
And power's good.
So we're living on the 2. Just wanted to get a little bit of a head start and get the 2 forward most difficult batteries out. And then when I bring all the new ones in, those will probably be the first ones I put in, and then I'll go in the lazarette and pull those 2 old ones out and put the new ones in.
Yo, killer hat, man.
Thanks.
How do you feel? You should do some stretches for your arms.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna have such big muscles after this project. I'll be like Hulk Hogan. Brother.
So Sean is bringing those old HEM batteries to our truck, and then we have like 15 more minutes until our dockside mail place opens. They probably hate us because these batteries have been sitting with them for a week. The batteries were supposed to show up a week ago when Sean was here. They showed up 2 days late and Sean wasn't here, and they're 80 pounds each, and there was like no way I could get them on the boat. So I begged them, and they're being very kind, to hold our big giant boxes until today. So I'm sure they're gonna be super excited to see us finally come and pick them up. And then we can finish the install, we meaning Sean, and I will have plenty of questions for him because I'm still confused on like, how do we just install lithium batteries? He makes it sound so easy and plug and play, and it kind of seems like that, but maybe not. So first step, we're gonna get the batteries and then get moving on wrapping up the rest of this project. And hopefully it goes well, because he's gonna be leaving again in a couple days. And I really hope we don't have any issues with our power, because I'll be here having to deal with it, and that's not fun.
After part 1 of this project, handling these 80-pound BORN 8D batteries was a breeze.
Their batteries are so light. I brace myself every time I go grab one because I feel like it's gonna be one of the lifelines. Get out there, stay out there, sweetie.
That's what we plan on doing.
Alright, so I'm going to take these downstairs and put them in position. I'm not going to connect them yet. Obviously they're different chemistry than the batteries that are running the boat right now. So I'm just going to get these in place so that they can be wired easily. And then I'm going to come back to the lazarette, take everything out of the lazarette so I can have access to the batteries. Then we're going to shut the power off to the boat. I'll take the 2 house batteries, the 2 AGMs that are in the lazarette out, replace it with lithium, and then I'll make the connections, and then I need to reprogram our charger so that we're matching the charge criteria of the new batteries, as well as make some adjustments to the battery monitor. So that's the goal today. And then tomorrow I need to finish the alternator charging side of this project. Which has already started, but more on that tomorrow. Let's get these batteries downstairs.
Oh, hey, nice. Whoa. You've been working out, haven't you? All right, I'll tell you how light or heavy these are. Oh, God. These are not light at all.
Do you want to try one of the other ones? Compared to the other ones. Compared to the other ones, that's like a feather. Don't hurt yourself. Okay.
I can probably move these around the boat if you need it.
Okay, watch out.
Hold on, let me put it down.
Don't hurt yourself.
Batteries are.
One of the many selling points of these new lithium batteries is that they perfectly match the form factor of our old batteries, making the swap super fast and easy since I didn't need to do any additional space configuration.
Like they were made to fit in here.
Oh, they don't actually sit in something.
They do, they're sitting in a
Oh,
little
they do.
pocket. There's a board that goes over the top to lock them in place.
Okay, so they do sit in a pocket, and a board locks them in place.
Once I got the first 2 batteries in place, I got to work replacing the 2 house batteries in the lazarette, also very inconveniently located. I definitely have a lot of respect for boat mechanics who do this kind of work for a living. It ain't easy.
Time to go in with the new. Unlike a flooded lead acid battery, you could take these things and mount them upside down if you wanted to. It's just a bunch of like C-cell sized batteries in there, just a ton of them. And they sandwich them between plates.
I wish I knew what that meant, but I don't.
You know, the C batteries that we put in like their Christmas lights or whatever.
Oh, like Dino?
That's basically
Dino's
like,
batteries?
there's just a bunch of those in here.
No way.
Yeah.
So Dino's batteries are in lithium?
Yeah, this battery could power up Dino for like years.
Oh.
I mean, actually it won't.
No, it
Dino's
will.
not compatible.
So this means more inflatables?
No. All done.
It's alive.
Batteries
Power's
are
working.
connected. The inverter's reprogrammed. The battery monitors got new settings in it. Everything seems to be happy and working well. Putting the LAS back together. And then we'll start looking into the alternator side of things. Maybe I'll continue tackling that project today, or maybe I'll get after that tomorrow.
So what did I miss exactly? The inverter stuff?
Connected all the battery terminals
Where did that happen? In the lazarette?
on the both places on the batteries.
Oh.
And then turned on the power switches. And then reprogrammed the inverter panel up at the helm.
So in the time it took me to go and take the boxes to the garbage and break them down and throw away all the styrofoam, you did all that?
Yeah, I'm super efficient when you're not around.
Hey, sweetie.
Yeah.
My other contribution is a snack.
Oh, nice.
Warm bread pudding from Jibe.
It's good.
Good?
Hey, Martha. So now we're in the engine room, tackling the changes that are needed to charge our batteries while underway using the main engine alternator. So obviously when we're at shore, our inverter charger is what's charging the batteries, and when we're unplugged from shore, the other means for charging the batteries is going to be from the main engine alternator. Lithium batteries they take a very specific charge profile, and if you don't stay within their specifications, the BMS, the battery management system within the battery, will take the charging side offline, so the batteries will not accept the charge. Furthermore, you can damage your alternator if the batteries do drop off and go offline. You can burn out the diodes. So our alternator on our engine is a 160 amp alternator. It is not configured for external regulation, so I'm going to rewire the alternator to be controlled by an external regulator. So the Wakespeed WS500 is the external regulator that we chose. It seems to be the most configurable of any of the external regulators on the market. But there's a fair amount of wiring, and there's some programming that goes along with it. So last weekend I mounted the control unit on the sidewall of the boat here on the starboard side and connected the wire harness below. And there's sensors that get connected in various places. So I pre-ran a bunch of wires back into the lazarette. We're going to be tying into the shunt, which monitors the amperage draw coming in and out of the house battery bank. There's a battery temperature sensor that's going to be connected to the lithium battery so that the external regulator will deregulate the charge or stop the charge depending on if the batteries are too cold to accept the charge. With lithium, you can get lithium plating in the batteries if you charge them in too cold of temperatures. So that's why it's critical to monitor the battery temperature. There's also a temperature sensor that I'm going to be installing on the alternator. Since there's not a lot of resistance and the charge rates are really high on lithium batteries, the alternator will work as hard as it can, which means it's going to get hot, and you can prematurely damage the alternator that way. So monitoring the alternator temperature is critical so that you can also ramp down the charge to protect the alternator. And then there's also some other wires. There's main power wires that go back to the battery. There's power wires that go up to the alternator.
There's field wires that go to the alternator for controlling the field voltage, which in turn controls the output from the alternator. And then there's a stator wire that gets hooked up to the alternator so that the controller can understand the RPM of the engine. So you can have kind of a ramping profile. So when you're at idle speeds, you're not asking the alternator to give a really high output until the engine is coming up to maybe a more normal cruising speed. So I'm going to continue where I left off on some of the wiring. Once it's all wired up, then we got to get into programming it. Once it's programmed, I'm going to check that the charge controller took the program parameters. And then lastly, we can start the engine and make sure that it's behaving the way that we expect it to behave.
First, I had to remove the existing internal regulator on the alternator. Next, I began prepping all of the wires for the various locations, including crimping and heat shrinking the connectors, labeling the conductors, and placing them all in a protective split loom.
Alright, so I got all of my control wires and sensors connected to the alternator. That's all of these wires here. I'm going to reconnect the alternator power cables, and then all of these wires I'm going to tuck into this split loom, and I'm going to follow it down to the bottom of the motor underneath the generator, and then come up so I can connect it to the regulator controller. So now is the work of trying to dress this all in nicely.
Any boat joke?
No, fresh out.
Any joke?
No jokes today. Roses are red, violets are blue. My wife hates boat work too. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and program our wake speed alternator regulator. So I've created a custom program based around the specific settings that the battery requires based on our configuration with our boat, the type of alternator that we have, and the size of our battery bank. So I'm going to plug the regulator into our computer. I'm going to update the firmware, and then I'm going to load the new program into it.
Using a configuration file, I was able to set up everything and download the specific settings directly to the controller. Once I completed some wiring in the lazarette and remounted the wake speed unit, I was ready to start up the engines and hope for success.
The engine alternator is giving off some amps right now. It looks like it's taking over from the inverter. I'm going to turn the inverter off, disconnect the shore power. It's a good sign. Our voltage is within an acceptable range. It's trying its hardest to keep up with the load. The RPMs have to come up a little bit more, but it's almost even. I'm just going to look at the lights on the unit and see what it's doing. The green light back there is continuing to flash on the wake speed unit. That means it's ramping up to a bulk charge. So as soon as the engine RPM gets a little bit higher, then it'll accept and start charging. Let's increase the RPM some more. I think we have success.
Thanks for watching. We hope you found this video informative and somewhat entertaining. If you're interested in installing BORN lithium batteries on your boat, click the link in the video description to learn more. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss next time when we put these batteries to the test at anchor and share our thoughts on performance, cost savings, and more. We'll see you next time.